Chapter 61. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chen Wenjing told Chen Fan that Mr. Chen had just returned to the family and immediately started making arrangements. Apparently, Wanheng Software Group's Vice President Han was coming to Jiangzhou tonight. Mr. Chen also sent people to Tinyu Tower to prepare for the meeting between the Chen family and Vice President Han. What's more, Han was even bringing the cooperation contract. If all went well, they could sign the deal tonight, officially landing the Chen family a project worth tens of billions. Great. Keep me posted on any updates, Chen Fan said, nodding. Thanks to Chen Wenjing, whom he'd broken things off with, he now knew the exact timing of the meeting. Perfect. At noon, the system chimed in. Ding. Day 14 of severance. Reward, world-class hacking technology. Chen Fan's heart skipped a beat. World-class hacking. Awesome. He was definitely happy with today's reward. As the system notification faded, a flood of information poured into his mind. After a long pause, Chen Fan processed it all. When he opened his eyes, he was one of the best hackers in the world. This skill was incredibly useful and could come in handy in countless situations. Armed with this new talent, Chen Fan suddenly had a bold idea. Forget the long-term stuff, let's focus on screwing over the Chen family today. Before, he figured he had an 80% to 90% shot at pulling it off. Now that he was a world-class hacker, that jumped to 100%. He was absolutely certain he could hijack the Wanheng Software Group project right out from under Mr. Chen's nose. Chen Fan grabbed a burner phone, pulled out his cell, and called Xia Wenyu. What's up? Is something wrong? Xia Wenjie asked, sounding nervous. Nothing like that. Sister Wenyu, I wanted to ask about that hacker attack on Wanheng Software Group a while back. How'd you guys handle it? Chen Fan inquired. Not so great, honestly. Our network security guys are okay, but all they could do was minimize the damage. Even then, we took a huge hit. The boss is furious about it. He wants to get back at whoever did it, but he doesn't even know who it was, Xia Wenyu replied, sounding frustrated. Sister Wenyu, tell your boss I know how to find out who the hacker is, and I can even pinpoint their location. He was now a world-class hacker. This was child's play. The hacker who attacked Wanheng Software Group might be skilled, but they probably weren't top tier. Why would a world-class hacker waste time on a small company like Wanheng? In Jiangzhou and Zhonghai, sure, they were a big deal, but compared to the global supercorporations worth trillions, Wanheng was tiny. Overtaking the Chens and stepping on the Jinlings thus was just his short-term goal. Now that he had the system, his long-term goal was to rival, maybe even surpass, those megacorporations with assets in the trillions, to become the guy at the top of the food chain. Of course, that was a lofty ambition, and he'd have to take it one step at a time, but as the system leveled up, his odds would only get better. On the other end of the line, Xia Wenyu was surprised. Are you kidding? Our network experts, the ones making close to $1 million a year, couldn't figure it out, let alone find their location. Are you sure you can do this? I'm serious, Sister Wenyu. After you talk to your boss, here's what you need to do. Chen Fan laid out his plan. That's risky, Xia Wenyu said, stunned. For Ruoshui's sake, I'm in. Finally, she agreed, gritting her teeth. It was a gamble, no doubt. If it wasn't for Ruoshui and the possibility of Chen Fan becoming her brother-in-law, she never would have agreed. If Chen Fan's plan worked, screwing over the Chen family would be nothing. Her boss at Wanheng Software Group would owe Chen Fan a massive favor. That afternoon, Chen Fan went back to the villa and started prepping for his new plan. Meanwhile, Mr. Chen returned to the family beaming. He had worked so hard and was determined to win the Wanheng Software Group project, and he'd finally done it. With billions in profit on the horizon, he couldn't help but be ecstatic. How's that little bastard Chen Fan been lately? Old Master Chen asked offhandedly. Father, we've been busy with the Wanheng project. Wenjing's been helping, too, so we haven't had time to deal with Chen Fan, Chen Yuzhen said. Well, it's a good thing we landed the Wanheng deal today. Old Master Chen nodded. We'll deal with Chen Fan after today. It's been more than 2 weeks. We need to move quickly and not delay any longer, lest the Su family gets upset. Yuzhen, come with me. Let's go over the arrangements for tonight. Old Master Chen began finalizing the plans for Vice President Han's visit. Around 6 p.m., Wanheng Software Group's Vice President Han Zhaohui arrived in Jiangzhou. Chapter 62. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The two sides met, and Chen Yuzhen introduced herself. To keep things under wraps, Mr. Chen, as head of the family, couldn't come himself, nor could his eldest son, the heir apparent, so, Mr. Chen dispatched his daughter, Chen Yuzhen, and granddaughter, Chen Wenjing, two less conspicuous women, to pick up Han Zhaohui, both wearing hats and sunglasses. Hello, Vice President Han. I'm Chen Yuzhen, here on my father's orders to pick you up. Great. I've brought the cooperation documents from Wanheng Software Group. As long as your father's terms meet my expectations, we can sign the contract immediately and hand the project over to Chen's real estate. Han Zhaohui stated. That's fantastic. The Chen family won't let you down, Chen Yuzhen assured. This way, please. Chen Yuzhen led, followed by Han Zhaohui, with Chen Wenjing bringing up the rear. Han Zhaohui has been received, Chen Wenjing texted, making sure the others weren't paying attention. Seconds later, Chen Fan got the message. Sis, how's it going? Chen Fan texted Xia Wenyu. Don't worry, I did what you said. Everything's going according to plan, Xia Wenyu replied. Seeing this, Chen Fan knew it was time to move, the show's about to begin. Meanwhile, the Chen patriarch, Chen Shanhai, along with his second son, Chen Min, and fourth son, Chen Jinping, were anxiously waiting at Tingyu Tower. Dad, how confident are you that you can win over Vice President Han? Chen Jinping asked. Confident? 100% certain. Mr. Chen patted the goods prepared on the desk. They'd been preparing for this for so long, there was no way it could fail. He'd learned all about Vice President Han's hobbies. 100%. That's amazing. Chen Jinping and the others exclaimed. That meant billions in profit, and it would soon be theirs. Plus, they could use this opportunity to network with the giant Wanheng Software Group. If they could partner up again in the future, their Chen family might even climb to the top spot as the wealthiest family in Jiangzhou. This wasn't just for them, but old Mr. Chen's lifelong ambition. Why had he been so eager to please the Su family in Jinling before? To get close to them and elevate the Chen family to Jiangzhou's wealthiest family. Chen Jinping and the others weren't the only ones thinking this way. At that moment, Mr. Chen himself was fantasizing about becoming Jiangzhou's wealthiest family. After closing this deal tonight, convincing Vice President Han, and securing Wanheng Software Group's project, he'd immediately deal with that little beast, Chen Fan. He'd heard Chen Fan had been running around lately, cozying up to some big shots in Jiangzhou and getting close to the Xia group. That was just because the Chen family hadn't had the bandwidth to deal with him lately. After today, Chen Fan would be crying. He wanted to take Chen Fan down within a week, no, 5 days, bankrupting him and leaving him penniless and homeless on the streets. Then, Chen Fan could crawl back to the Chen family, beg for forgiveness, and happily marry the Su family's daughter. He had to latch onto the Su family tree in Jinling. Only then could they have a shot at becoming Jiangzhou's wealthiest family. Father, Vice President Han's here. Chen Min, who was waiting downstairs, hurried up to report. 10 seconds later, led by Chen Yuzhen and Chen Wenjing, Vice President Han arrived on the second floor of Tingyu Tower and met the Chen family. Vice President Han, welcome, welcome. Old Master Chen greeted him effusively. Mr. Chen, good to see you again. Now that we're on your turf, we can have a real chat. Han Zhaohui nodded. They all sat down. My time is limited. Get straight to the point, Mr. Chen, Han Zhaohui said after settling in. Of course. Old Master Chen then pushed a document in front of Han Zhaohui. Vice President Han, this is the purchase contract for a prime mansion in Zhonghai. I've already paid the 1.7 billion yuan. Just sign, and it's yours. Bribery couldn't be direct, they couldn't just hand over cash, or it would be too easily traced. Mr. Chen had heard that Vice President Han was a fan of luxury homes, and he had bought this particular mansion to cater to that taste. The prime mansion in Zhonghai. Han Jiaohui's eyes lit up. The Chen family was already giving him a generous gift worth coming to Jiangzhou for. If you like it, you can live there. If not, you can sell it. Very good, Vice President Han nodded, remaining non-committal, but the mansion alone didn't seem quite enough. Please, take a look at this, Vice President Han, Mr. Chen said, placing a second generous gift in front of him. This one was a stack of photos. Mr. Chen, what's this all about? Han Jiaohui asked, puzzled. I heard you're also a fan of famous calligraphy and paintings, so I've stored over a dozen paintings in that mansion, all by famous artists like Qi Baishi and Zhang Daqian. These dozen paintings are estimated to be worth around 300 million. Old Master Chen said with a smile. Real or fake? Han Jiaohui perked up immediately, grabbing the photos. He really did love calligraphy and paintings, especially Zhang Daqian's. Rest assured, Vice President Han, these were all bought at auction, with authentication certificates from top appraisers. They're all authentic. Mr. Chen promised, he'd really searched high and low for these paintings. Amazing, look at this painting, elegant and lively, simply perfect. Vice President Han's voice trembled with excitement. He was happier to receive paintings worth 300 million than to be handed 500 or 600 million in cash. Seeing this, Mr. Chen and the others smiled. They'd chosen the right gifts. That was more important than anything. Combined, these two gifts were worth 2 billion. Old Master Chen paused. 2 billion wasn't chump change. Mr. Chen, I really appreciate these two gifts, but Wanheng Software Group's project is incredibly important and profitable. I have to find the right real estate developer. Han Jiaohui went on, emphasizing the project's significance and profit potential. Anyone could see he was just saying, show me the money. Faced with Han Jiaohui's greed, Old Master Chen gritted his teeth and brought out his trump card. Vice President Han, I have a special document here, Old Master Chen announced. This trump card was the most valuable and unique of the three gifts. Oh. This document stipulates that for the park project, no matter how much profit it makes, 30% will belong to you, Vice President Han. In short, profits would be split 70/30ths between the Chen family and Han Jiaohui. The bigger the project and investment, the higher the profits for both of us, Mr. Chen hinted. He wanted Han Jiaohui to use his influence to expand the project. Giving Han Jiaohui a share of the profits and tying him to their fate would also motivate him to work harder. Han Jiaohui's eyes lit up. The potential profits were considerable, and he understood Mr. Chen's intentions. Mr. Chen signed the document on behalf of the Chen family and handed it to Han Jiaohui. Once he signed, the 70/30th split was official. Vice President Han, please. All right, Han Jiaohui replied, signing his name eagerly. After signing, Han Jiaohui retrieved another document from his briefcase. Mr. Chen and the other Chen family members stared, wide-eyed. They knew exactly what it was. Welcome Chen's real estate company as a partner of Wanheng Software Group, Han Jiaohui announced with a smile. The Chen family members erupted in excitement. Suddenly, applause broke out. The next second, to the Chen family's surprise and confusion, Chen Fan kicked open the door to the private room. Chapter 63. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Chen Fan showed up, the whole Chen family was thrown for a loop. Weren't they the ones who booked Tinyu Tower? How did he get in here? Chen Fan, who invited you? Yeah, you're no longer part of the Chen family. This is a private Chen family gathering. You don't belong here. Get lost. The Chen family members, visibly anxious, started berating Chen Fan. They couldn't let outsiders find out about their deal with Vice President Han. Out. Now. Old Man Chen's voice boomed, laced with fury. Ignoring the family's outburst, Chen Fan turned his attention to Han Jiaohui. I represent Jiangzhou Yongtai Real Estate Group. I'm here today to discuss Wanheng Software Group's park project with Vice President Han. Chen Fan introduced himself smoothly. A ripple of panic went through the Chen family. They couldn't shake the feeling that Chen Fan knew way too much, and when had he become a representative for Yongtai Real Estate? Inside the private room, Old Man Chen and Han Jiahui were the most stunned, but both had seen their share of drama and quickly composed themselves. Han Jiahui was the first to speak. Well, I didn't realize this gentleman was also interested in our Wanheng Software Group project. He chuckled, his eyes glinting. Tell you what, Master Chen, why don't you two compete for it? Han Jiahui acted as fair as could be. I'm already familiar with Chen's real estate's offer. It's quite attractive and well suited for Wanheng Software Group. What advantages does your Yongtai Real Estate Group bring to the table? Old Man Chen fixed Chen Fan with an icy glare. This little bastard, Chen Fan, had already screwed up his plans to cozy up to the Su family in Jinling by publicly cutting ties with the Zus. Now, here he was, representing Yongtai Real Estate and trying to steal the Wanheng Software Group project right out from under them. Chen Fan, the little punk, was history. At that moment, Old Man Chen was consumed by hatred for Chen Fan. Despite his rage, however, he was still confident he could secure the Wanheng Software Group deal. Vice President Han already knew how sincere he was. He refused to believe that Chen Fan, this nobody, could get Yongtai Real Estate to offer more attractive terms. The Chen family would land this Wanheng Software Group project. Who did this punk Chen Fan think he was, trying to compete with the Chen family? Just wait, Chen Fan. Once this business is settled and the Chen family has the time, you're done for. Old Man Chen watched Chen Fan's performance with barely contained fury. The advantage, Chen Fan stated coolly, is that Yongtai Real Estate Group is vastly superior to Chen's real estate in terms of both strength and the quality of our projects. Is that all? Han Jiahui pressed. That's all. I won't resort to bribery, like the Chen family, to win Wanheng Software Group's business. Chen Fan's words were like a slap in the face. The expressions of the Chen family and Vice President Han shifted instantly. How did you find out? Old Man Chen blurted out, completely thrown. How did this little whelp know they'd bribed Vice President Han? How did I find out? Chen Fan repeated, a hint of amusement in his eyes. It's simple. I'm the owner of Tingyu Tower. The room went dead silent. Oh, and I overheard everything you were saying. Chen Fan added with a smile. Chen Fan decided not to expose Chen Wenjing. It wasn't the right time for her to take a stand against the Chen family. Chen Wenjing could be far more useful operating from within the family. Sabotaging the Chen family's Wanheng Software Group project was just Chen Fan's opening move. He had more surprises in store for Old Man Chen and the entire Chen clan. If Chen Wenjing remained undercover, she could inflict even more serious damage on the Chen family. She was a time bomb ticking away within their ranks. It was better to wait for a more crucial moment to detonate her. The impact would be far greater. Yuzhen. Old Man Chen shot his daughter a look of pure fury. Chen Yuzhen was the one who'd found Tingyu Tower, swearing that it was a secure location, and now it turned out that Chen Fan owned the place. They'd been discussing sensitive business on Chen Fan's turf. Talk about delivering the lamb to the slaughter. Chen Yuzhen felt tears prick her eyes as her father's anger washed over her. It wasn't her fault. She truly hadn't known Chen Fan owned the property. Damn Chen Fan. Ha! Even if you did overhear, so what? We've already come to an agreement with Vice President Han. Old Man Chen declared, regaining his composure. He shot Han Jiahui a knowing look, signaling that everything was still under control. This was Jiangzhou, the Chen family's territory. Even if someone had overheard, it was nothing he couldn't handle. That's right. Han Jiahui chimed in. I'm pleased to announce that Chen's real estate group is now officially a partner of Wanheng Software Group. With that, he signed the contract, making his position crystal clear. Old Man Chen eagerly followed suit. From this moment forward, Chen's real estate company has officially secured the Wanheng Software Group project. He waved the signed document in Chen Fan's face, a smug grin plastered across his features. So what if you uncovered our little arrangement? The deal is done. You, Chen Fan, are destined to lose. You're too late, Chen Fan. How does it feel to be on the outside looking in? That the other Chen family members chimed in. reveling in their perceived victory. Faced with their gloating taunts, Chen Fan remained calm. Everything was unfolding exactly according to his plan. Vice President Han, Chen Fan said, his voice dangerously low, aren't you concerned that the owner of Wanheng Software Group might find out that you betrayed the company's interests and accepted bribes? Ha! How would our boss ever find out? Han Zhaohui scoffed. They were miles away in Jiangzhou. There was no way their boss would hear about it. Aren't you worried that I might tell your boss? Chen Fan pressed. Tell our boss. Does our boss even know who you are? Han Zhaohui sneered. When the time comes, I'll tell our boss that you're deliberately trying to smear the Chen family and maliciously interfering with their business dealings because of a personal vendetta. Han Zhaohui continued, his voice dripping with arrogance. I'm the boss's right-hand man. Who do you think he'll believe, you, a complete stranger, or me, his trusted confidant? At that moment, Han Zhaohui was the picture of unshakable confidence. Hearing this, Old Man Chen and the Chen family breathed a collective sigh of relief. Vice President Han was right. He was the boss's trusted advisor. Who was Chen Fan, in comparison? Facing the arrogant Han Zhaohui, Chen Fan couldn't help but chuckle. Well, then, let me show you exactly who the owner of Wanheng Software Group trusts. Chen Fan clapped his hands, clap, 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 star. Suddenly, a hidden door in the private room slid open. The next second, Qi Weiran, the owner of Wanheng Software Group, and Xia Wenyu, the vice president, walked into the room. Chapter 64. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sudden appearance of Qi Weiran and Xia Wenyu took everyone by surprise. The Chen family members were startled but didn't seem overly concerned. However, Han Zhaohui's face froze when he saw Qi Weiran, like he'd seen a ghost. He was totally bewildered. What was going on? Why was his boss in Jiangzhou, of all places? Boss. Han Zhaohui stammered, huh? Boss? The Chen family, including Mr. Chen, were shocked to hear Han Zhaohui's address. Was this the Qi Weiran, the head of Wanheng Software Group? Oh, man, Qi Weiran's face was ashen with fury. He was in Jiangzhou because Chen Fan, through Xia Wenyu, had invited him. Chen Fan's initial idea was just a video call from Xia Wenyu, thinking it was unlikely he could actually get Qi Weiran to come all the way to Jiangzhou, but the system's reward of world-class hacker skills changed everything. Chen Fan asked Xia Wenyu to invite Qi Weiran, claiming he needed help finding the mysterious hacker who attacked Wanheng. Qi Weiran jumped at the chance to catch the hacker. Chen Fan had arranged for the Tinyu Tower manager to create a small, hidden room off the private dining room. This was all part of his plan to take down the Chen family. The secret room allowed them to hear everything that was being said in the main room. Qi Weiran and Xia Wenyu had arrived before Han Zhaohui and were already inside, listening to Han Zhaohui's entire conversation with Mr. Chen. Boss, Han Zhaohui tried to defend himself. Qi Weiran ignored him, stepping forward and delivering a stinging slap, smack, star. Han Zhaohui's face instantly swelled. Is this how you repay my trust? Qi Weiran's eyes blazed. While everyone was distracted, Chen Fan quietly swiped the two signed contracts. Evidence secured. Chen Fan had deliberately timed his entrance to coincide with the signing, ensuring he had proof. Effective immediately, Han Zhaohui is terminated from all positions within Wanheng Software Group. Our legal department will be in touch. Prepare for a few years in the slammer. Qi Weiran announced. Han Zhaohui slumped to the floor, his world collapsing. He was done. The amount involved was substantial. A few years in prison. Even that was terrifying. Mr. Chen and his family listened, feeling a sense of shared doom. And as for Chen's real estate company, Wanheng Software Group will never work with you. Qi Weiran glared at the Chen family. With those two sentences, Mr. Chen and his family crumbled. How could this be happening? All the hard work, all the planning, all the energy invested in securing the Wanheng Software Group project, gone. Their Chen family had failed. Our project in Jiangzhou will be handed over to Yongtai Real Estate Group, represented by Mr. Chen Fan. Qi Weiran declared. Chen Fan's plan to defeat the Chen family was complete. All eyes turned to Chen Fan. Chen Fan. Chen Fan, you're ruthless. This is all your fault. The Chen family members muttered, shocked and bewildered. The appearance of Wanheng's boss here had to be connected to Chen Fan, the owner of Tingyu Tower. Barely 2 weeks ago, Chen Fan had broken ties with them. They'd been so sure he'd end up worse off, a beggar in the streets, but now, he was not only doing better than when he was with them, but thriving. The boy they had looked down on had successfully snatched their most important deal. Unbelievable. Mr. Chen's vision blurred as he looked at Chen Fan, and he nearly vomited with rage. Fortunately, his fourth son, Chen Jinping, steadied him. Mr. Chen took a deep breath and recovered. He couldn't believe that in just a few weeks, the most ordinary and seemingly incompetent member of the younger generation had risen up so dramatically, and he had stolen the project that was rightfully theirs. Damn him! Chen Fan, the little viper, had truly surpassed him. Chen Fan. Old Master Chen stared at Chen Fan, his eyes blazing with hatred. Last time, Chen Fan's split from the family had ruined his chance to impress the Su family of Jinling. Now, he had orchestrated this humiliation, stealing their project and watching their guaranteed contract fly away. This little monster deserved to die. Old Master Chen pushed away his son's support and stalked to within a few feet of Chen Fan, confronting him face to face. Chapter 65. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The old man was furious, barely containing his rage as he glared at Chen Fan, his eyes burning with hatred. He wanted to teach this disrespectful grandson a lesson right then and there, but Chen Fan had already cut ties with the family, leaving him powerless. In the past, he would have broken Chen Fan's legs without a second thought. Chen Fan, the old man spat out, his voice dripping with venom. Don't think you're hot stuff just because you snatched a deal from us. You're still the same useless, incompetent trash you always were. You're a mile away from my grandson, Chen Faming. In the old man's eyes, Chen Faming, the family's golden boy, was destined for greatness. No one else, especially Chen Fan, could even dream of competing with him. The rest of the Chen family felt a pang of unease. Despite the old man's harsh words, Chen Fan was proving to be a formidable force. Had he remained within the family, they would have boasted 2 exceptional young talents. But now that he was an outsider, his success only fueled their animosity. Nearby, Chen Wenjing watched the scene unfold, her expression a mixture of emotions. She felt a flicker of relief that she'd chosen to align herself with Chen Fan, taking control of her own future. Under the old man's iron fist and his blatant favoritism towards Chen Faming, her efforts would have been meaningless. She would have simply been used as a pawn in a strategic marriage, her value drained until nothing remained, but she refused to accept that fate. She was determined to recoup what she'd invested in the Chen family before severing ties completely. This little setback is nothing more than a scratch for us, the old man seethed. But you, Chen Fan, have made an enemy of me. You've signed your death warrant. This one victory doesn't guarantee another. We won't let you get away with this. Prepare for the full force of the Chen family's wrath. The rest of the Chen family echoed his sentiment, their faces contorted with rage. Chen Fan simply scoffed, as if they would have been friendly if this hadn't happened. They wouldn't let him go. The feeling was mutual. Undercutting their project was just the opening shot in his campaign to bring the Chen family to its knees. He knew this incident was more of a slap in the face. They might have lost some time and effort, but the Chen family's core assets remained untouched, but the next clash would hit them where it hurt. They would understand the true meaning of feeling the pain to the bone. Just you wait. With one final, venomous glare, the old man led the Chen family away. Throughout the entire confrontation, Chen Fan and Chen Wenjing avoided any direct interaction. Chen Wenjing was playing her part well. Let the Chen family revel in their arrogance. Chen Wenjing's continued presence within their ranks would provide him with invaluable intelligence. When that ticking time bomb finally detonated, the resulting explosion would send shockwaves through the family. As the Chen family departed, Chen Fan, Qi Weiran, CEO of Wanheng Software Group, and Xia Wenyu headed to a private room on the 3rd floor to discuss business. Thank you, Mr. Chen, for helping me expose the mole in my company," Qi Weiran said, his voice filled with gratitude. He had placed so much trust in Han Zhaohui, treating him as a confidant. The betrayal stung deeply, and he vowed to make Han Zhaohui pay for his treachery. "We can finalize our partnership with Yongtai Real Estate Group tomorrow," Qi Weiran continued. He intended this as a gesture of gratitude, but he had also taken the opportunity to research Yongtai Real Estate Group's reputation and capabilities. He was impressed with their resources, ethics, and particularly, the high quality of their projects. "Sounds good," Chen Fan replied. This Wanheng Software Group project was extremely lucrative, and as a major shareholder in Yongtai Real Estate Group, Chen Fan was guaranteed a significant slice of the pie. "Mr. Chen, Vice President Xia tells me you can help me track down the hacker who attacked Wanheng Software Group. Is that true?" Qi Weiran asked, cutting to the chase. This was his primary reason for visiting Jiangzhou. "That's right," Chen Fan confirmed. For him, the world's top hacker, this was a minor challenge. "Tell me the details," Chen Fan said, settling back in his chair. "Well, a few days ago." Qi Weiran began, recounting the events. After listening, Chen Fan immediately focused on a specific detail. "The hacker demanded a large sum of money. Where did you send it?" Chen Fan asked. "They had us transfer the funds to a special overseas account. I had my people investigate, but they couldn't find anything." Qi Weiran said, frustrated. "Just because you couldn't find it doesn't mean I can't," Chen Fan said confidently. "Give me the account number." Since the hacker was after money, no matter how obscure the account, they would eventually need to move the funds. By following the money trail, he was confident he could identify the hacker or someone closely connected to them. "All right." Qi Weiran replied. Chen Fan powered up a specially configured computer and began to work. Time ticked by, and after a few minutes, Chen Fan suddenly exclaimed, "Got it." Chapter 66. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After a dozen or so transfers to obscure the trail, the money finally landed back in his own account. "He's hiding right here," Chen Fan said, pointing to a location on the computer screen for Qi Weiran. "Figures, the best hiding place is right under your nose," Chen Fan sighed. The address was less than a kilometer from Wanheng Software Group's headquarters. Talk about being hidden in plain sight. "Huh? You already found him?" Qi Weiran glanced at his Vacheron Constantine watch. Only 6 or 7 minutes had passed. Seriously, that the network security experts at his company, who were pulling in millions a year, had spent 2 or 3 days without turning up a single lead, and Chen Fan had nailed the hacker's location in a matter of minutes. Before he could even process it. Was Chen Fan really that good? Xia Wenyu, standing nearby, was equally floored. Chen Fan was this capable. He'd found the guy already. She'd been expecting this to drag on for days. When she'd first started working with Chen Fan, it had been entirely for Xia Ruoshui's sake, and she hadn't expected much. Then Chen Fan had actually managed to get rid of Han Zhaohui, who had been a thorn in her side. In a way, Chen Fan had done her a solid, and now, he tracked down the hacker who was wreaking havoc on Wanheng Software Group in just a few minutes. Damn, Chen Fan was a powerhouse. That afternoon, when Xia Wenyu had first met Chen Fan, she'd been curious. How could someone as perfect and aloof as Ruoshui fall for someone who looked so ordinary? Now, Xia Wenyu got it. Chen Fan was capable, confident, and clearly had a certain appeal. "Well, my guess is it's a small team, not just one person," Chen Fan said. Qi Weiran snapped a photo of the address and immediately reached out to his contacts, alerting his friends at the police station to make an arrest. He was still reeling, half wondering if Chen Fan had the right guy. "One more thing, Mr. Qi," Chen Fan added. "You've got a mole inside Wanheng Software Group. They're working with outsiders to leak your company's secrets." Chen Fan figured that network security at a company like Wanheng Software Group had to be tight. The fact that the hackers had gotten in so easily pointed to inside help. "I see. Thanks, Mr. Chen." Qi Weiran realized, and a couple of names immediately popped into his head. Half an hour later, Qi Weiran got the call. They'd busted a small hacker team at the location Chen Fan had provided. They'd confirmed that they were behind the attack on Wanheng Software Group. Qi Weiran was ecstatic. Mr. Chen had found the right address in just a few minutes. He was suddenly filled with deep respect for Chen Fan. Overjoyed, Qi Weiran grabbed Chen Fan's hand. "Thank you, Mr. Chen. Thank you so much." He'd been holding his breath, feeling helpless, for so long. And Mr. Chen had finally solved the problem. "Mr. Chen, I owe you big time. Anything you need, within my power, just name it." "I won't refuse," Qi Weiran promised, ready to commit to something with Chen Fan within reason, no matter the cost. "You're too kind, Mr. Qi," Chen Fan said, nodding with satisfaction. He planned to use this connection, this favor, when he eventually dealt with the Jinling Su family. The Chen family, on the other hand, Chen Fan could handle on his own. He hadn't forgotten the long-term mission the system had given him: bankrupt the Jinling Su family and grind them into the dirt. That was a 100 billion reward. More than 10 days had passed, and Chen Fan needed to get moving. After confirming that they would sign the contract at Yongtai Real Estate Group the next morning, Chen Fan arranged for Qi Weiran to stay in the top suite at the Xilan International Hotel. Chen Fan and Xia Wenyu then headed to Yujing Villa, as Xia Wenyu wanted to see the Xia sisters. A little while later, the sisters were together. While they chatted, Chen Fan stepped aside to call the president of Zhouxiao Security Group. He wanted to know how the search for his parents was going. The sooner he could get a few of Zhouxiao Security Group's special forces trained detectives on the case, the sooner he could find out where his parents were. They'd been missing for a year, and Chen Fan was desperate for news. The president of Zhouxiao Security Group told Chen Fan that he was still working on it, but the old guard on the board was resisting, saying it was against company policy. "It's a shame, Mr. Chen. You only have 5% ownership of the group. If you had 15% or 20%, those stubborn old guys wouldn't dare to give you the cold shoulder." The president of Zhouxiao Security Group sounded regretful. 15% or 20%. Chen Fan frowned. That might be a long shot for others, but for Chen Fan, it wasn't impossible. System. "Give me more shares of Zhouxiao Security Group as rewards in the next few days." Chen Fan hoped the system would hear him out. "Okay, thank you, Mr. Zheng," Chen Fan said, wanting to be polite. Meanwhile, Xia Wenyu was chatting with Xia Ruoshui in a low voice. "Ruoshui, I'll be honest. I'm a little jealous that you found someone like Chen Fan." "Huh?" Xia Ruoshui blushed. "Mr. Chen is definitely attractive, especially after what he did tonight. He handled it beautifully." Xia Wenyu sighed. "He's yours, Ruoshui. If he weren't, I'd probably be making a play for him. When are you bringing Mr. Chen home to meet your folks?" Xia Wenyu asked. Xia Ruoshui then explained that they weren't actually dating yet, but that she just had a crush on Chen Fan. "Ruoshui, this sounds like your first real crush. Don't let him get away. You'll regret it if you do," Xia Wenyu warned her. "And if you really like Chen Fan, you need to take the initiative or someone else will snatch him up. It's usually easier for a woman to catch a man. With your looks and figure, isn't it a slam dunk?" Listening to her sister, Xia Ruoshui was silent for a moment, lost in thought. Just then, Xia Ruoshui received a message from the company. There was an important social event tomorrow night, and she needed to be there. Apparently, a suitor she loathed would also be at the event. "Chen Fan, are you free tomorrow night?" Xia Ruoshui asked. "Tomorrow night, yeah. What's up?" Chen Fan nodded. "Could you go with me to a social event tomorrow night?" "There's someone there I can't stand," Xia Ruoshui asked hopefully. Before Xia Ruoshui could finish, the system chimed in. Ding. Task. Accept Xia Ruoshui's invitation. Reward. 4% ownership of Zhouxiao Security Group. Reward. 53 experience points. Chen Fan was ecstatic when he saw the reward. He'd just been hoping for more shares. And now the system was rewarding him with 4% ownership of Zhouxiao Security Group. The system was awesome. Chapter 67. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The system was incredibly powerful. Chen Fan was impressed. No problem, Chen Fan assured Xia Ruoxue. Great. Xia Ruoxue beamed, clearly happy with Chen Fan's agreement. That night, Xia Wenyu stayed with Xia Ruoxue, and Chen Fan headed next door to his own place. It was still early, so Chen Fan went to his study, grabbed a whiteboard, and started listing all the Chen family's industries in Jiangzhou that he knew of. Then, on the other side, he listed his own assets. After what happened tonight, the Chen family would definitely seek vengeance. Chen Fan wasn't about to sit idle, so he planned to strike. First, he needed to carefully consider which of the Chen family's businesses to target. This time, he wasn't just aiming to slap them on the wrist like before. He intended to inflict some serious damage. Time flew, and the next morning, Chen Fan arrived at Yongtai Real Estate Group. Soon, Qi Weiran, the head of Wanheng Software Group, and Xia Wenyu showed up. The two parties signed a contract, officially becoming partners. Nearby, several shareholders of Yongtai Real Estate Group who hadn't been so optimistic exchanged glances. They sighed at how quickly Chen was making moves. It had only been a short time since he'd snatched the Wanheng Software Group project from the Chen family, a deal worth tens of billions. Chen was truly amazing. Mr. Chen, if we have the chance, we'll definitely work together again, Qi Weiran said, completely ignoring the president of Yongtai Real Estate Group and shaking Chen Fan's hand. I'd like that. Chen Fan replied politely. Thanks for your help last night, Mr. Chen. If you ever need anything, just give me a call. I'll do the same. I consider you a friend. With the contract signed, the remaining details were left to the employees of both companies. Qi Weiran left, and the shareholders of Yongtai Real Estate Group showered Chen Fan with compliments. As Chen Fan finally left Yongtai Real Estate Group, the system's voice chimed in. Ding! On the 15th day of severing ties, reward, 6% ownership of Zhouxiao Security Group. Huh? More ownership of Zhouxiao Security Group? 6%, Chen Fan's face lit up. He already had 5%. With this 6%, plus the upcoming task of accompanying Xia Ruoxue tonight, he would have 15% ownership of Zhouxiao Security Group. According to the president of Zhouxiao Security Group, the old guard at the company wouldn't be able to refuse his requests. Moreover, with the 6% ownership of Zhouxiao Security Group, Chen Fan's net worth officially exceeded $2 billion. It had only been 15 days since he got the system, and his net worth had already exceeded $2 billion. The long-term challenge the system gave him was a full 100 days, with 85 days left. Surpassing the Jinling Su family and bankrupting them seemed like a sure thing. And if he completed the long-term task, he'd get a mind-blowing reward of $10 billion. That was a win-win. Chen Fan was thrilled, while the Chen family was miserable, especially Mr. Chen, who was still plotting how to teach Chen Fan, the little punk, a lesson. Chen Yuzhen burst in, looking panicked. Father, someone from the Su family in Jinling is here. What? Someone from the Su family? Mr. Chen was immediately alarmed. He'd been so busy with the Wanheng Software Group deal that he hadn't dealt with Chen Fan. Not only had he failed to keep his promise to Miss Su, but he'd watched Chen Fan become even more powerful. Now that someone from the Su family was here, they were probably there to chew him out. Show them in. Show them in. Mr. Chen immediately stood up. Half a minute later, a man in his 30s walked in. Let me introduce myself. I'm Su Qingxian, a direct descendant of the Su family in Jinling. Welcome, Mr. Su. Please, have a seat, Mr. Chen said, ushering Su Qingxian to his previous seat. I won't sit down. I was just passing through your Jiangzhou, and Junyao asked me to check on how your Chen family is handling the Chen Fan situation. Su Qingxuan's tone was cold. If Su Junyao hadn't insisted, he wouldn't have bothered coming to a backwater like Jiangzhou. He felt that visiting such a place was beneath him. Well. Mr. Chen was at a loss for words. What is taking you so long? A junior who has severed ties with your Chen family, and you haven't taken care of him in over 10 days. Seeing this, Su Qingxian asked angrily. What kind of wealthy family do you even call yourselves? A useless family like yours can't even handle a junior with no one to rely on. How dare you call yourself wealthy? Su Qingxian cursed, faced with the direct descendant of the Jinling Su family. Mr. Chen swallowed his anger and even managed a smile. He needed the Jinling Su family to help him become the top family in Jiangzhou. That was the sad reality for a smaller family. Don't worry, Mr. Su. There was a slight setback, but I promise it won't be long before we deal with Chen Fan and have him happily marrying Miss Su. Mr. Chen promised quickly. Humph, you'd better hurry up. Junyao is starting to show. The longer you delay, the more obvious Junyao's pregnancy will become. If it's delayed for a longer time, your Chen family will be embarrassed, but our Su family will lose face, which is the biggest loss. Su Qingxian said. I'll give you another 2 weeks. If you still can't handle it, step aside and let me take care of it. Actually, they could marry someone else, but Junyao was fixated on Chen Fan. She insisted that Chen Fan willingly marry her with a smile, and no one else would do. 2 weeks. Okay, I will solve the problem within 2 weeks and make Chen Fan happy to marry Miss Su. Mr. Chen said confidently, if they had to ask the Su family to step in, their Chen family would be completely useless. They couldn't expect to rely on the Su family to become the leading family in Jiangzhou in the future. Humph, I hope that the next time I come to Jiangzhou, I will attend the engagement ceremony or wedding of Chen Fan and Junyao. Su Qingxian gave Mr. Chen one last look and strode off. After the warning from the Su family, Mr. Chen could no longer sit still and began to think frantically. Soon, a ruthless plan against Chen Fan formed in his mind. A creepy smile spread across Mr. Chen's face. Chen Fan's good days were over. Chapter 68. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After finalizing the plan, Mr. Chen called in his fourth son, Chen Jinping, to hash out the details. He'd initially thought dealing with Chen Fan would be a piece of cake, just sicking some of the younger generation on him. But now, he realized he'd have to unleash his son on that little beast. His good-for-nothing grandkids were no match for Chen Fan. Well, except for Chen Faming, his prized grandson, the unicorn son of the Chen family. Now, Mr. Chen was tasking Chen Jinping to execute the plan himself. Meanwhile, Chen Fan's afternoon was packed with classes, leaving him no time to pick up Xia Ruoshui. So, they agreed to meet directly at Linhai International Hotel, the venue for tonight's shindig. At 7 p.m. sharp, Chen Fan was the first to arrive at Linhai International Hotel's banquet hall. The hall was already buzzing with dozens of guests, all big shots in Jiangzhou with serious clout. A few minutes later, Xia Ruoshui made her entrance. Her striking beauty immediately turned heads. Chen Fan was about to greet her when a lanky young guy rushed over to Xia Ruoshui. Ruoshui, hey. Long time no see. The young man grinned, all eager. Save it. And please, don't call me Ruoshui. We're not exactly close. Xia Ruoshui replied icily, facing the young man. The guy, Jiang Qiuhao, was the prince of Jiangzhou Ingrong Group and a notorious playboy. He was the suitor Xia Ruoshui had been complaining about yesterday. Hey, no problem. So, after tonight's banquet, how about we grab a bite, Ruoshui? President Xia. Trying not to creep her out too much, Jiang Qiuhao reluctantly switched to President Xia. No, thanks. Xia Ruoshui shot him down without a second thought. What's the harm? You're single, I'm single. Two single people grabbing a meal, what's wrong with that? Jiang Qiuhao persisted. Sorry, you're mistaken. I'm not single. I already have a boyfriend. Xia Ruoshui corrected him. The room erupted in surprised murmurs. Wait, what did President Xia just say? She's not single. She has a boyfriend. When did this happen? Jiangzhou's most beautiful CEO is off the market. Who's the lucky dude? The male guests were green with envy for Xia Ruoshui's mystery man. Jiang Qiuhao was floored. He couldn't believe his ears. Xia Ruoshui had a boyfriend? How could this be happening? No way, President Xia, you're just saying that to ditch me. I don't believe you have a boyfriend. If you do, bring him out so we can see him. Jiang Qiuhao challenged her. Yeah, show us. President Xia, let's see your boyfriend, the crowd chimed in. Some, like Jiang Qiuhao, didn't buy Xia Ruoshui's story. Others were just dying to know who this guy was who managed to snag her. I'm Ruoshui's boyfriend. At that crucial moment, a calm voice rang out. In a flash, Chen Fan stepped forward, walking straight to Xia Ruoshui amid the shocked stares. Ruoshui had mentioned yesterday that there'd be an annoying guy at tonight's party. This Jiang Qiuhao was probably him. Honestly, the guy was a real pain. Chen Fan had promised to help Ruoshui out today, so he couldn't just stand by. When she said she had a boyfriend, she was obviously talking about him. Seeing Chen Fan approach, Xia Ruoshui instinctively looped her arm through his. Now, all eyes were on Chen Fan. Holy crap, this guy landed President Xia. I'm so jealous. Did this kid save the world in his past life? How did he pull that off? That everyone was incredibly envious of Chen Fan. Jiang Qiuhao, on the other hand, was turning purple with rage. Ha! You say he's President Xia's boyfriend? Who is he, really? I'll bet you're faking it. If you're a real couple, why don't you kiss each other? Jiang Qiuhao sneered, challenging them. He didn't believe this average-looking guy was really Xia Ruoshui's boyfriend. With Xia Ruoshui's personality, there was no way she'd be that intimate with someone unless they were seriously together. A kiss? Chen Fan was caught off guard. This wasn't good. Just as Chen Fan's mind was racing, trying to figure out how to respond, Xia Ruoshui suddenly leaned in and gave him a quick peck on the cheek. Her face instantly flushed crimson. Everyone was stunned, including Chen Fan. Now, no one doubted that Chen Fan and Xia Ruoshui were an item. For President Xia, known for her cool demeanor, to make such a bold move meant they were definitely a couple. Who is this guy? He actually won over President Xia, and she's head over heels for him. Amazing. The male guests looked at Chen Fan with awe. He's a true role model for our generation. Jiang Qiuhao's face was contorted with fury. He'd been chasing Xia Ruoshui for so long, and she'd never even given him the time of day. But this guy comes along and snags her. Damn it. Jiang Qiuhao glared at Chen Fan, grabbed a wine glass, and stomped off to pour himself a drink. Chen Fan and Xia Ruoshui stepped aside. Chen Fan, about what just happened? Xia Ruoshui said, her voice barely audible. It's just my way of thanking you for helping me. Just as Chen Fan was about to say something, the system notification popped up. Ding. Mission completed. Accept Xia Ruoshui's invitation and attend the social event. Congratulations. You have been awarded 4% ownership of Zhouxiao Security Group. Congratulations. You have gained 53 experience points. Mission accomplished. Chapter 69. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The new year was here, and Chen Fan was on the move, now owning 15% of Zhouxiao Security Group. Thanks to acquiring another 4%, Chen Fan expected no problem getting a few top retired Special Forces soldiers transferred to him, according to the president of Zhouxiao. Plus, with 53 points in hand, he was getting closer to upgrading to the second-level system. Since it was getting late, Chen Fan decided to contact the head of Zhouxiao Security Group in the morning. Congratulations, President Xia, a woman dressed to the nines greeted Xia Ruoshui, nodding to Chen Fan afterward. Madam Lu, thank you, Xia Ruoshui replied politely. Long time no see. Some friends are over there. Care to join us for a chat? The woman gestured to a small group of ladies and wealthy women nearby. Sure, Xia Ruoshui agreed. I'll go say hello. After a quick word to Chen Fan, Xia Ruoshui followed the woman. Xia Ruoshui finally breathed a sigh of relief. Her heart had been racing, and she hadn't known how to face Chen Fan. Madame Lu's interruption gave her a chance to compose herself. She hadn't expected things to go as far as they had when she invited Chen Fan. Between Jiang Qiuhao's questions and her cousin Xia Wenyu's words, Xia Ruoshui had boldly taken the initiative to kiss Chen Fan. Just thinking about it made her heart pound faster. Though shy, Xia Ruoshui didn't regret it, remembering her cousin's advice. This was the first time she'd felt this way, and Xia Ruoshui wanted to seize the moment. Meanwhile, Chen Fan poured himself a drink when Jiang Qiuhao suddenly approached. Listen, kid, break up with Xia Ruoshui now and get out of town, or you'll regret it. Jiang Qiuhao threatened in a low voice. Break up with Ruoshui? Get out of town. Ha! Based on what, your threats? Chen Fan was amused by the clown. Who did this guy think he was? He was practically at war with the top-tier Jinling Su family and wasn't afraid, so why would he fear this kid's threats? Fine. Just you wait. You'll regret those words. Jiang Qiuhao pulled out his phone and walked to the corner, seemingly making arrangements. Chen Fan ignored him, more concerned with how to handle the Chen family in the future. Mr. Chen. A surprised voice interrupted his thoughts. Chen Fan turned to see Yang Xingping, the biggest shareholder of Yongtai Real Estate Group. Mr. Yang. Fancy meeting you here. What a coincidence. Seeing how the boss of Wanheng Software Group had treated Chen Fan like a brother earlier in the day, Yang Xingping's respect for him had only grown. Mr. Chen, come on, let me introduce you to some good people. Seeing that Chen Fan was alone, Yang Xingping led him out of the banquet hall and into a small lounge next door. 3 well-known wealthy individuals from Jiangzhou were already inside. They had come to the event but considered themselves too important to mingle with the crowd, so they had retreated to this lounge. Let me introduce you. This is Mr. Chen from Yongtai Real Estate Group. He's the one who initiated our project with Wanheng Software Group. He's good friends with their boss. Yang Xingping introduced Chen Fan with great emphasis. The others in the lounge were instantly excited. The Mr. Chen before them was friends with the boss of Wanheng Software Group. Incredible. Being friends with someone like that meant this Mr. Chen must be a big shot himself. Hello, Mr. Chen. Mr. Chen, you're handsome and look like a real go-getter. The usually haughty wealthy people of Jiangzhou were now falling over themselves to flatter Chen Fan. Mr. Chen, let me introduce you. This is Mr. Li, the chairman of Tongfu Company. And this is Jiang Maochang, the head of Ingrong Group. Yang Xingping introduced them one by one. Mr. Chen, your future is bright. I admire that. Jiang Maochang, the boss of Ingrong Group, was the most eager to please Chen Fan, almost fawning over him. His company had been struggling lately, and this was an opportunity to network with someone important, so Jiang Maochang was determined to seize it. After a few words, Jiang Maochang excused himself to find his son, Jiang Qiuhao, claiming he needed to use the restroom. Where'd that kid run off to? Jiang Qiuhao was searching the room for Chen Fan. He had contacted his brother to plan a lesson for Chen Fan outside the Linhai International Hotel after the banquet. He wanted to make sure Chen Fan didn't leave before they could confront him but was surprised to find he was gone. Humph, the coward must have been scared and ran off. Jiang Qiuhao guessed smugly. Just then, Jiang Maochang approached his son and said seriously, I just met someone important. Come meet them. Important? Yes, someone your age. You should have plenty to talk about. Jiang Maochang nodded. Now, when you meet this person, be on your best behavior. Be polite and try to make a good impression. No problem, Dad. Trust me, I'm good at schmoozing and sucking up to big shots. Jiang Qiuhao promised confidently, excited to meet someone important. Just don't cause any trouble. Jiang Maochang rolled his eyes, full of doubt. How could I? I'm the most filial son. I'd never cause you trouble. Jiang Qiuhao replied confidently. Let's go. Jiang Maochang led his son to the lounge next door, where he immediately approached Chen Fan respectfully. Mr. Chen, my son happens to be here. I'll introduce him. What are you waiting for? Say hello to Mr. Chen. Jiang Maochang nudged his son, Jiang Qiuhao, who had been too nervous to look up, spoke and raised his head. Hello, I'm. But when Jiang Qiuhao finally saw who he was speaking to, he froze, struck speechless. His expression went blank. Chapter 70. You are listening at novelfull.audio. They were so busy they had to put it off until the next day. Is it, really you? Jiang Chilhao stammered, visibly shaken. Dad, is this kid the big shot you were talking about? Jiang Chilhao asked his father, looking like he'd just swallowed something awful. Yeah, did you know Mr. Chen before? Jiang Maochang asked excitedly, thinking his son and Chen Fan were old friends. We just met, recently. He wanted me to get out of Jiangzhou, Chen Fan said casually. Jiang Maochang was stunned. Everyone else exchanged knowing glances, trying not to laugh. This was rich. Old Jiang's son actually told Chen Fan to leave Jiangzhou. How dumb was that? Jiang Maochang felt a wave of dizziness, followed by a surge of anger. This ungrateful son swore he wouldn't cause trouble. Turns out, he wasn't kidding. He went straight for the grand prize. You actually said that to Mr. Chen? Jiang Maochang asked through gritted teeth. Dad, I. Jiang Chilhao floundered, unsure how to respond. Seeing his hesitation, Jiang Maochang knew the truth. Enraged, Jiang Maochang slapped his son hard across the face. The blow was so forceful that Jiang Chilhao's cheek immediately swelled. You little bastard. How dare you say that to Mr. Chen? Who do you think you are? Jiang Maochang kicked his son repeatedly. He even took off his crocodile skin leather shoes and started beating him with them. Ah! Stop, Dad! Stop hitting me! Jiang Chilhao screamed in pain. Those were genuine crocodile shoes, and they hurt like hell. The beating continued until Jiang Chilhao was covered in bruises. Finally, Jiang Maochang stopped. Mr. Chen, I haven't disciplined him well. It's my fault. Jiang Maochang bowed deeply to Chen Fan, apologizing profusely. I'll take this idiot home right now and handle it according to family rules. Family rules? No, Dad. Please. Jiang Chilhao begged, terrified. Jiang Maochang started to drag his son away, but Chen Fan stopped them. I don't want to see him in Jiangzhou again, understand? Chen Fan said. He didn't want to deal with this clown, and he certainly didn't want Ruoshui to be bothered by him. Understood, Mr. Chen. I'll send him away from Jiangzhou immediately, and he'll never come back. Jiang Maochang promised. Then, Jiang Maochang hauled his son away. Chen Fan chatted with Yang Xingping and the others for a bit before returning to the banquet hall. Where did you go? Xia Ruoshui asked curiously. Ruoshui, you won't have to see that creep Jiang Chilhao in Jiangzhou anymore, Chen Fan said. Xia Ruoshui's eyes lit up, and her heart warmed. He really cared about her. She looked at Chen Fan with a new tenderness. Thank you, she said, smiling beautifully. After staying a little longer, Chen Fan and Xia Ruoshui left. As they walked from the elevator of the Linhai International Hotel, talking and laughing, a middle-aged woman nearby stared in surprise. She immediately pulled out her phone and secretly snapped a photo of Xia Ruoshui and Chen Fan. Xia Ruoshui had booked dozens of rooms at the Linhai International Hotel to host representatives from other Xia family companies. This middle-aged woman was one of those representatives, and also a member of the Xia family. Xia Ruoshui was a rising star in the family and the subject of much attention. Her future marriage was a topic of great interest to many. Seeing her leaving with a young man, laughing and talking, set off alarm bells. She recognized the look in Xia Ruoshui's eyes. This was more than a casual friendship. The photo could be very useful. Coming to Jiangzhou turned out better than expected. The middle-aged woman smiled, full of hidden meaning. She planned to put this photo to good use. The competition within the Xia family was fierce. Time passed quickly. The next morning, Zheng Qinzhou, president of Zhouxiao Security Group, called another meeting with the old-timers who opposed him. Come on, guys, it's just a few transfers from the special team. It's no big deal. A couple of people won't make a difference, Zheng Qinzhou argued, siding with Chen Fan. No way. Not negotiable. Doesn't follow company rules. The old guard shook their heads. Zheng Qinzhou was frustrated, and the discussion deadlocked again. Just then, Chen Fan called. Mr. Chen, we're still discussing this. Unfortunately, these executives still disagree, Zheng Qinzhou said helplessly. Disagree? Mr. Zheng, put it on speakerphone. I want to talk to them. Chen Fan said, Zheng Qinzhou obliged. Mr. Chen, we can't make exceptions. These are the company's rules. Company rules can't be broken. The old-timers chimed in before Chen Fan could speak. Then why didn't you object when Mr. Wang temporarily transferred 6 or 7 people from the Special Forces team 6 months ago? Zheng Qinzhou asked, recalling information he had uncovered. Mr. Wang owns 12% of Jiuxiao Security Group. His situation is special. Mr. Chen only owns 5% of the group. His authority doesn't compare. The hypocritical old-timers answered without hesitation. Let me correct you. I currently own 15% of Jiuxiao Security Group. A quiet voice came through the phone. The old-timers were immediately embarrassed. What? It was only 5% yesterday. How did Mr. Chen suddenly acquire 15% ownership of the group? Those were 2 entirely different levels of influence. Does anyone have any further objections? Chen Fan asked. If he owned more than 50%, or even 100%, of Jiuxiao Security Group, Chen Fan wouldn't have to worry about these people's opinions. He could simply transfer all 3 special teams to investigate his parents' disappearance. No objections. I support Mr. Chen. I agree with Mr. Chen's opinion. Suddenly, the attitudes of the old-timers did a 180, and they all expressed their agreement. Zheng Qinzhou sneered at their spinelessness. Why did they even bother resisting in the first place? Don't worry, Mr. Chen. I'll select a few people now and send them to Jiangzhou immediately. You'll meet them before noon tomorrow, Zheng Qinzhou promised. Okay, thank you, Mr. Zheng. The matter settled, Chen Fan hung up. It was still early Saturday morning, and today's reward hadn't arrived yet. Chen Fan was looking forward to it, eager to see what goodies awaited him. Chen Fan was heading to his study to examine the Chen family's industrial structure when a piece of bad news arrived.